Good morning, Jefferson City. This is the NT Daily for Monday, July 13th. Before we get started this morning, we are going to talk and acknowledge the devastating flooding that unfolded across parts of Missouri over the weekend. Governor Mike Kehoe declared a statewide emergency Friday as torrential rainfall led to dangerous flash flooding across central, south central, and southeastern Missouri, activating state emergency resources and bringing in the Missouri National Guard, Highway Patrol, Department of Conservation, and other agencies to help with rescue efforts and other emergency efforts. Sadly, at least one person has lost their life, and more than 350 people were rescued from floodwaters in southeast Missouri. Among those, more than 200 campers and counselors from Camp Tomsock were evacuated by Missouri National Guard helicopters after becoming stranded by rising water. Entire campgrounds were washed out, roads collapsed, and parts of the Black River reached record flood levels, surpassing even the flooding of 1993. Our thoughts are with everyone affected and with the first responders and personnel who worked around the clock all weekend. If you're traveling anywhere in southern Missouri today, continue to check road conditions before heading out. Obviously, we will keep updated on that story and more efforts later this week, and continue to follow announcements coming out of the governor's office. One quick note from the national political world before we jump in, and typically we do not cover a ton of national stories on this show because you have lots of other places to go for that. But South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham died unexpectedly over the weekend, and it is important to note that under South Carolina law, Governor Henry McMaster will appoint someone to temporarily fill the seat until January, while the state holds a special election to choose his successor. So obviously an interesting story as election season heats up. We're going to hear from one of our partners and sponsors of the NT Daily. MU Healthcare's front door is never too far from yours. With more than 80 locations across mid-Missouri and expert hospital care in Jefferson City and Columbia, MU Healthcare is committed to ensuring every Missourian has access to the region's most advanced diagnostic and treatment options. MU Healthcare, expert care close to you. One of the 4 constitutional amendments on Missouri's August ballot does not get as much attention as some of the others, but it has funded Missouri state parks and soil conservation for more than 40 years. Amendment 1, the first question voters will see on the ballot in August, asks voters whether to continue existing 0.1% sales tax for another 10 years. It doesn't create a new tax or increase the current rate. It simply asks whether to renew what is already in place. Last year, that tax generated about $136 million. Half goes towards maintaining Missouri's 93 state parks and historic sites, while the other half supports soil and water conservation programs that work directly with farmers and landowners across the state. The tax was first approved by voters in 1984 and has been renewed every decade since. In 2016, it passed with roughly 80% of statewide support. I think I said this on the last segment that we talked about this, but it's essentially the golden retriever of ballot issues if you could have one. Department of Natural Resources officials say the funding has helped reduce soil erosion dramatically over the past 4 decades and is one of the reasons Missouri is able to keep admission-free at all of its state parks. Before we move on, today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Hen House Market. Whether you're grilling, meal prepping, or just trying to figure out what everyone's eating this week, Hen House has you covered. Their new weekly deals this week begin Wednesday, featuring certified Hereford beef, fresh pork, chicken, seafood, summer produce. Always have specials in the bakery, deli meats, and plenty of other products to stock up on. Stop by the Jefferson City Hen House this week and see what is fresh. A couple of quick hits this morning. So the High Street Viaduct, if you have been paying attention, and I think we reported on this on Thursday as a breaking news alert, if you've been patiently waiting for the High Street Viaduct to reopen, there's finally some movement. Repair work officially begins today, Monday. Crews expect the project to take about 30 days and will repair the deteriorated sections of the bridge that forced the emergency closure back in February. The bigger picture than that is quite encouraging. Jefferson City learned it was denied a federal build grant that would have helped pay for replacing the aging bridge altogether. City officials say replacing the structure is still the long-term goal, but at roughly an $18 million price tag, that funding is going to remain the biggest hurdle to getting a total bridge replacement on the viaduct. And another traffic-related story, if you've ever driven Highway 54 south of Jefferson City, I have to drive it almost every day, so near the Brazito stretch, there is a lot of winding curves and a lot of parts where you have to have highway crossings that make it a little sketchy, a little dangerous. If you've ever felt that way, MoDOT agrees. The department is moving forward with plans to improve about 4 miles of Highway 54, where there have been 227 crashes over the past decade, including 5 fatal crashes. The proposal would smooth out a dangerous curve and reduce several of those highway crossings in the area. MoDOT will be holding an open house on July 28th, and the public can also submit comments until August 11th. Construction isn't expected to begin until the summer of 2027 if the project moves forward. If you saw Friday's News Tribune, you may have noticed United Way officially kicked off its annual campaign with the Pacesetter Breakfast. This year's campaign theme is Reach for the Sky, inspired by Toy Story, with a fundraising goal of $2.9 million to support 25 local partner agencies. Pacesetter companies help kick off the annual United Way campaign by running early workplace giving campaigns and setting the pace for fundraising across the community. The Pacesetter campaign is now underway, runs through August 28th before the community-wide campaign officially begins on September 3rd. Congratulations to everyone taking part in this year's Pacesetters campaign. We will be following that community campaign as it gets underway and heats up this fall. That is your quick morning update. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure that you are following us everywhere on social media and on YouTube. Subscribe, share it with somebody who still thinks constitutional amendments only happen every presidential election. They do not. So have a great Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.